in celebration of being alive. So we all know that Dr. Christian Bernard was the first doctor to perform the heart transplant surgery. So this lesson is an extract from his speech where he says how his perception of life totally changed after an incident that happened in the hospital. So the lesson begins with, as he was towards the end of his career as a heart surgeon, his thoughts turned to the consideration of why people should suffer. That suffering was very commonly existing in the world. He says that out of 125 million children born in a year, 12 million hardly reach the age of 1, and another 6 million die before the age of 5. Dr. Bernard met with an accident few years ago while crossing the street with his wife. Suddenly, within a minute, a speed car had hit both of them and they both were badly wounded. So during the next few days, they were hospitalized. In the hospital, Dr. Bernard says that he experienced only suffering and fear. So due to this fear and suffering, he was also very much angry. He could not understand why he and his wife had to suffer. Dr. Bernard's ribs were broken, and due to the rib fracture, his lung was also perforated. There was a hole in the lung. His wife had a shoulder fracture. Dr. Bernard had work to do. There were many patients waiting for surgery, and his wife had a young baby who needed her care. Now, in this present situation, after accident while they were hospitalized, Dr. Bernard recalls what his father had told him when he was alive. Dr. Bernard's father had told him that, "My son, it's God's will, the way God tests you. Suffering ennobles you, makes you a better person." So his father used to say that God tested each human being by giving suffering to us. So after that suffering, after experiencing all the suffering what God gives us, we become a ennobled person. That means we become a better person. We are very much dignified. But as a doctor, Dr. Bernard says that as a doctor, he didn't see anything noble in the patients who all were suffering. I see nothing noble in a patient thrashing around in a sweat-soaked bed. Thrashing around, it is an idiom which means that it is restless. So when they are in a pain, when they are suffering, they are restless and they roll about in the bed. And he sees that nothing, only they suffer with pain and nothing noble he watches in the patients. He is also saying that nor can I see any nobility in the crying of a lonely child in a ward at night. So early days there was not well advanced, the technology was not advanced. I have always found the suffering of children particularly heartbreaking. He says as a doctor, he had seen many children suffering. They place their whole trust in doctors and nurses. But at end, if you are not able to save their lives, they accept it as their fate. And also, if patients undergo mutilating surgery, that is surgery which causes disfiguration, after that also they accept it and they don't complain.